large crowd to march to the Capitol. Partly because of woefully inadequate policing,
Oh, I love that. The the reason what happened at the Capitol happened was because there was woefully inadequate policing there. Hey everyone, welcome back to Casual Revolt. I'm Casual Revolt. I'm a teacher. I make tons of videos about politics, history, know a lot about fascism to my chagrin. Okay, if you click the bell icon if you want to be notified of when I go live. I do a lot of live streams. This video was made during a live stream. Today we're going to be watching a video from PragerU. Okay, PragerU is basically a right-wing educational outlet, which is essentially propaganda. The Trump administration has been pushing to have the PragerU's videos taught in schools, and uh, a lot of red states, especially, have already started using PragerU videos in classrooms. Okay, so as a teacher here, I've done a lot of these reaction videos, just trying to push back against the propaganda they're pushing. This one is titled "Donald Trump, the MAGA President." It is a 5-minute video from PragerU. I suspect this is going to be horrific. So we'll watch this now, and let's see what happens. Okay, here we go.
one day in the future, historians will be struck by the contrast between two contemporary narratives of the Trump era. According to one narrative, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was a modern-day Caesar, an autocrat who, by ignoring constitutional constraints, aspired to end the American Republic. According to the other narrative, this same man was a courageous tribune of the people.
So it is funny how they're already framing it as historians disagree on this point, right? This is not like necessarily a good source, but the American Association of Historians came out and they almost universally placed Trump as one of the worst presidents we've ever had. Now there is obviously bias and stuff involved in that, but they do pretty good historical analysis. So there's not really a divide amongst historians on this. The vast majority of historians in the profession think he was a terrible president compared to other presidents. All right.
Who, by taking on corrupt and predatory elites, saved the Republic.
So this is the whole drain the swamp argument, but it could easily be said that Trump is the swamp. He is a predatory elite who is corrupt. He has hardly done anything. If not anything, he's made it worse. He's made the corruption worse. So anyway,
which version is right? Let's find out. Donald Trump was born on June 14th, 1946, in Queens, New York City, the son of a successful real estate developer. After graduating,
funny. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back here. Look at this, showing him living in talking about him living in Queens, which is sort of a dog whistle, claiming he's almost like a working class type character here. But his father was rich. Obviously, he was a successful real estate guy who, by the way, engaged in racist housing practices, refused to let black people rent out in his apartments, and gave Donald a hefty sum to begin his own businesses. So yeah, okay, not great.
Developer. After graduating from the Wharton School, Trump joined the family firm. A high-stakes risk-taker, Trump's towers, casinos, and resorts generated remarkable quantities of cash, debt, and litigation.
Okay, maybe they'll mention it, but he bankrupted. He bankrupted almost all of those, right? Most of those, a lot of those, I should say. He bankrupted them because he's not a competent businessman. It's almost laughable to say he is.
Not to mention publicity. In 2004, the risk-taker gambled on a second career as the host of the reality TV show The Apprentice.
By the way, the guy that had him go on the reality TV show The Apprentice, this is kind of funny because he did that because he wasn't doing well elsewhere. And the guy who chose him knew that he was kind of an incompetent fool and that he'd be good for TV for that reason. Not because he thought he was a great businessman or whatever, because he thought he was kind of a silly, incompetent businessman that could at least play the part of being a competent businessman. Okay. Okay.
It made Trump a star. But it was his third career as a politician that ultimately made Trump the most famous person in the world. On June the 16th, 2015, Trump announced that he was seeking the Republican nomination for the presidency. Few people took him seriously. He'd dabbled in politics before, but had never run for any political office. Yet Trump struck a chord with his attacks on illegal immigration from Mexico and unfair trade with China.
I would argue the thing that really struck a chord with the Republican Party at the time was the fact that he accused Obama of not being born in the country. He claimed that Obama was a foreign Muslim who was born in Kenya or something, claimed that he couldn't technically run for president. So he got a lot of attention by connecting with the conspiracy wing, if you could even call it a wing. It was basically the party of the Republican Party, by stoking this racist conspiracy theory that Obama wasn't born in the country. And even after Obama released his birth certificate in a classic act of conspiracy theory logic, that birth certificate must also be fake, right? Which basically implies that no matter what evidence Obama provided, they would still think he was not born in the country. I wonder why. Might it have to do with his skin color? Might it have to do with the skin color there? Okay. All right.
His unvarnished, unscripted style inspired a new populist.
Okay, unvarnished and unscripted style. That's a way of putting it. One might say it's the ramblings, the babblings of a madman who is just it has a childlike complex of yelling at people that disagree with him, and demonizing people he doesn't like, and not talking like an educated person, I should say, or not talk. I shouldn't use that phrase. Not talking like someone who knows what they talk about, knows what he's talking about, which he doesn't. Okay. Anyway,
Political movement with the slogan, "Make America Great Again," MAGA. While the coastal elites had benefited from globalization, many Americans felt left behind. In this brash billionaire with his viral tweets, they found a champion.
by the way, I don't know why I love this notion of like the coastal elites, the coastal elites. I don't know. That sounds like a dog whistle for something. I'm not going to say it just because I can't be sure, but there are also elites in the interior of the country. Most business owners have profited from globalization. Most Republicans have profited from quote unquote globalization. Uh, the only people that really haven't profited off of it are the average American worker. Okay, okay.
The pundits and pollsters forecast victory for the Democratic candidate, Hillary Clinton.
And by the way, one last note here. I forgot to mention this. One of the key aspects of fascism is palingenic ultranationalism. Okay. It's the idea of trying to return your country to a prior time, a mythical past of glory, as a sort of magical rebirth. What is Make America Great Again? That is exactly what that is. It is palingenic ultranationalism. Classic fascist talking point.
They were wrong. True, Clinton won the popular vote, but Trump won the vote that mattered, the Electoral College, 304 to 227. A fractious coalition.
Remember that Trump couldn't even get over that fact, even though he won the electoral vote. He freaked out. He still denies that he lost the popular vote because he has such thin skin. Even though he won the election, he's like, but no, I also won the popular vote. Like, buddy, calm down. It's okay. You still won. But he can't. The notion of losing the popular vote, he can't lose anything because he has a bit of a inferiority complex, doesn't like to lose, daddy issues type anything.
Between his campaign team, the Republican establishment, and a succession of generals and businessmen, Trump's first administration often seemed chaotic.
Because it was.
In terms of Trump's core objectives, it was highly successful. On the campaign trail, he'd promised to build a big, beautiful wall on the nation's southern border.
Yep.
He succeeded, metaphorically.
Okay, well, hey, they admitted it. Well, they didn't admit it. So he didn't end up building the full wall. He built sections of it. By the way, the original idea here was he said, make Mexico pay for the wall. That, of course, didn't happen because, there's this little thing called sovereignty and you can't force a neighboring country to pay for your wall. But it is funny though that they added metaphorically because did he build it metaphorically even? Because there were still, I mean, I don't care about this, but there were still immigrants coming in. Anyway, he didn't complete the wall. He broke that promise. He didn't get Mexico to pay for it. And see, it seems to be kind of coped to be like, well, he did metaphorically complete it. Okay.
2017, in just his first year as president, apprehensions at the US-Mexico border dropped to a 46-year low. Thanks to Trump's tax cuts and deregulation, real median household income rose significantly for the first
No,
time since 1990.
nope, that is just blatantly not true, okay? Uh, okay, so, so let me go back here. I know too much about this one point. Let me see here. Okay, so they're saying that his tax cuts and his deregulation caused the median income to rise. Not true. That is not agreed upon by economists. There was already the economy was already slowly sort of recovering. Um, well, since the financial crisis, but also there was COVID, et cetera, et cetera. All these things, what was the date of this? I can't remember. Regardless, there were many these the median income only increased in certain places. There is nothing linking it to the tax cuts or deregulation. A lot of it is natural growth. And at the same time, wealth inequality was still increasing. And that increased median income prices were also increasing. So does that really benefit people if prices are going up and their wages are going up? My point is that this is just not true. Okay, that is a way oversimplification. It's debated by economists.
Real median household income rose significantly for the first time since 1999, by 10% between 2016 and 2019.
No.
When Trump
Okay,
took
so that
office,
was before. Okay, that was before COVID, but this was a part of natural economic growth over time, and prices did not go down or anything. And not to mention, because of these tax cuts, a lot of benefits that were previously given to people were cut off. So, okay,
the Islamic State terrorist organization had overrun large parts of Syria and Iraq. Within 2 years, it was effectively wiped out. The Abraham Accords, which Trump negotiated, represented
yeah, it was wiped out, but that was more than just Trump that did that. That was a coalition of countries around the Islamic State. That was prior presidents, including Obama. That was not just Trump that did that. That was a long process. It was not easy to just quote unquote destroy ISIS. Anyway.
a geopolitical breakthrough in relations between Israel and the Arab countries. And
Oh, how well has that stood up over time, right? How well has that stood up?
by imposing tariffs, Trump pressured China into a trade deal that began to address the economic imbalances between the two countries. Yet to his opponents, Trump was
And you know what? I should also point out the Abraham Accords. Trump basically didn't negotiate it, right? He just put a stamp on it, right? He's not nearly competent enough to do something like that. All right.
a would-be dictator. The Democrats even claimed he was a pawn of Russian President Vladimir Putin. When that charge couldn't be
Well,
substantiated, the Democrats impeached Trump on the ground that he'd pressured Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
wait. Okay, so he make it sounds like the Democrats, their first attempt was to link him with Russia, and since that failed, they decided to go the impeachment route. Well, he did literally break the law. Okay, he did literally break the law by attempting to pressure using corruption the president of Ukraine. There was a phone call where he acted like a mob boss, which was a violation of the law, which would allow them to impeach him. And the only reason he got off was because the impeachment trial is a political process, and the Republicans didn't vote to impeach him. He was impeached what, 3 times? 3 times? I don't even remember. There were so many of them because he did break the law. So yeah, we could say that Democrats maybe overplayed the Russia stuff, even though there was some weird stuff there. But he was impeached because he broke the law. All right.
To investigate former Vice President Joe Biden. The Senate acquitted Trump. It took a highly contagious virus originating in Wuhan, China, to succeed where Trump's political opponents had failed. The COVID-19 pandemic threw the Western world.
Okay, sorry guys, I gotta pause this here. So, whenever you have a crisis, a health crisis, or a natural disaster, There are two components to it. The first one is the actual disaster or the health problem, and the second one is the human reaction to it. Trump could not control the fact that there was a COVID virus. He did really, really, really screw up the response to it, though, which absolutely made it 1,000 times worse and resulted in the death of many more people. Uh, if he had handled it well, I suspect the numbers wouldn't have gone down so much for him. But he was an incompetent fool and started making claims like you can just inject yourself with bleach or whatever the hell else he said in an attempt to, claiming that that would help you with COVID. Like, anyway,
Rolled
okay.
into a panic. America, like most countries, locked down. This expedient didn't reduce mortality by much, but
No, it did.
did plunge the
It did reduce mortality. It reduced mortality a lot.
economy into a deep crisis. An incident in Minneapolis, Minnesota in May 2020 further ripped the social fabric. During a routine arrest, a black suspect named George Floyd, a petty criminal and drug user,
Oh my God, I hate that. Whenever anyone talks about George Floyd, I'm not surprised, PragerU would do this. They always talk about, they always talk about like, oh, George Floyd, he was a petty criminal and a drug user. Let's say that's true. You know what? Hey, I'll even say, sure, fine. He had a history of drug use. So does that mean you get executed on the spot without a trial? Is that what we're okay with? Does that justify a summary execution by a law enforcement officer without trial in the United States of America? I mean, not to mention the clear racial associations that go with showing an image of a black man and calling him a criminal and a drug user. I just it is a very fascist talking point to say, well, the law shouldn't apply to in this case. We should just kill this person. Um, yeah, it's just gross. It's just gross. And the classic PragerU justifying summary execution uh, of citizens.
died while being restrained by a white police officer, Derek Chauvin. Subsequently, Chauvin was convicted of unintentional second-degree murder. Orchestrated by the group Black Lives Matter and
By the way, I think the courts made a big mistake there. It was definitely. I think it was intentional. But
banned
hey.
by Democrats and the media, protests and riots erupted across
Banned by Democrats in the media. You mean because the Republicans were in charge, the Democrats capitalized on the anger towards the government that was as a result of black people continually being killed on camera by cops, which is what politicians do. It was not by the way, a lot of the Democrats didn't do anything about it, and were criticized by the left for not doing enough about it. Was it the Democrats or was it that people were fed up with watching people get killed on camera? I suspect that was it. If we remember, the Democrats were actually kind of weak. If we remember here, folks, what was it? Nancy Pelosi and a bunch of her goons up on Capitol Hill actually put on kente cloths, and kneeled, and thinking that that symbolic act would like make them appear strong and in support of the black community while refusing to make any significant changes to law enforcement. Okay.
the country. It was in this feverish atmosphere that the 2020 election campaign took place. The Democrats insisted on mail-in balloting, ostensibly to avoid spreading the virus. In
What
many
does he mean
states,
ostensibly? Ostensibly, the Democrats were trying to get more people to vote. Okay, yeah, and probably part of it was that the more people that vote, the more likely the Democrats are to win. You know what the Republicans try to do? They try to limit voting because they know that if the country is too democratic, they're more likely to lose. So, okay, let's say the Democrats did push mail-in balloting to get more people to vote. Hey, at least they're promoting democracy, right?
they got their way. Unwisely, Trump discouraged Republicans from casting postal votes,
Yeah, because he's a moron.
despite spending most of the race in the basement of his Delaware.
He's a baby, and he thinks that that mail-in ballot voting will hurt his chances of winning because he thinks it's going to be rigged.
home, the Democratic candidate Joe Biden won 81 million votes, 15 million more than Barack Obama had in 2012, to Trump's 74 million. Trump was convinced the election had been stolen. On January the 6th, 2021, he encouraged a large crowd to march to the Capitol. Partly because of woefully inadequate policing.
Oh, I love that. The reason what happened at the Capitol happened was because there was woefully inadequate policing there. Okay, it wasn't Trump literally, and a lot of the people around him planning it for months in advance. The Proud Boys and such, what's his face? The guy that was the head of the Proud Boys at the time, literally planning it, talking about doing a revolt and doing an attempt to take over the Capitol. And then Trump using in his speech implying that they should go fight, fight, fight and do violence at the Capitol. And then Trump, after it had started, sitting in front of his Fox News television, basically letting it happen and refusing to take calls to allow it to occur while it was going on. All right.
The protest ran out of control. In the aftermath, the Democrats again impeached Trump. When this failed, they unleashed a barrage of criminal and civil cases against him.
By the way, if you're going to impeach someone, folks, I think that's the time to do it.
But what
So that's hilarious to me. Yeah, you know why they launched those civil cases against him and things like that? Because he had done things like sexually assault a woman, uh, engaged in tax fraud, and a bunch of other things. So I guess, yeah, they went after him because he had broken the law. He had broken the law. Is that a bad reason to go after him?
didn't kill him made him stronger, figuratively
I'm sorry, seeing the word "strawn" anywhere associated with Trump, the most thin-skinned man on the planet. I can't. Okay.
and literally. Trump ran for re-election. Not only did he beat his Republican challengers and withstand a guilty verdict, he also survived 2 assassination attempts. In November
So there was one attempt where there was actually a shot taken at him. Uh, then there was a second one where the guy got nowhere near Trump and was caught on a golf course far away from Trump. So it's kind of a stretch to say that he survived a second assassination attempt. The guy didn't even get a chance to do it at all. He was stopped before he even got close to Trump. Um, all right. Yeah.
2024, Trump defeated Vice President Kamala Harris in the greatest comeback in American political history.
In the greatest comeback in American political history. Okay. Calm down. Calm down, PragerU. Jesus Christ. Calm down.
This time winning the popular vote as well as the Electoral College. The final historical verdict on Donald Trump, the ultimate American risk-taker, cannot yet be returned. Caesar or Savior? I'm Neil
Caesar.
Ferguson, Senior Fellow at the Hoover Institution at Stanford.
By the way, Neil Ferguson, most historians would regard him as a pseudo-historian, not a good historian. He does do some work that is kind of is okay, but like most of his stuff is just crap. He's an explicitly right-wing historian, very pro-capitalism, things like that. Not renowned for his academic analyses, even though he is an academic. Does a lot of like justification for right-wing talking points in his work that kind of ignores historical realities. Kind of has a racial tint, by the way, a lot of his work does. Just a side note there, wouldn't call him an expert. Okay. On that note, folks, thank you for watching. If you're interested, if you want to help support this channel, please subscribe for as little as 99 cents a month. You can click the join button and become a member and get access to cute little jester hats and emojis when I go live. I'm also go over to Twitch, see how I'm doing there. Maybe subscribe. Okay. You can find a link in the description of the video. Thank you, everyone.
For Prager University.
And yep, that's the end of it. All right. Okay. Bye-bye.